Welcome to the second part of my interview with Klaas Oosterhout. It has been so much fun speaking to him. If you haven't watched part one, please click below. I have a link below on this video in the description to point you to the first part of the interview. This part of the interview, we're going to dive into goal setting. And if you're an entrepreneur that is stuck on a fence or you're just stuck in your business, he's giving some really great tips on how to get out of that. Again, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. It does help me to grow my channel, and therefore I can pump out more videos like this in future to help you guys in your business. Remember, this channel is the best place to be to start, grow, or scale your online business today. I can't wait to see you in the next part of this interview with Klaas. I love speaking to these people and exactly that, because I tend to ask some of the questions the same because of exactly that, see how people do it.
Yeah.
Brings me to another one, hashtag goals. Klaas, how do you set your goals?
How do I set my goals? And again, it comes from that clarity of what do I want my vision to be like, right? And I always start with life first. I start with life first and I build my business around that. So, and then I set my goals for the year, and I do that in 4 and 4. Again, first analyzing how was last year, and then looking at like, what's the next year going to be like? And then I look at like, okay, what are the big 4 goals that I want to achieve at the end of the year for my life? And I also always look at like, what goal, if I would achieve that, will elevate everything else. Yeah. Because there's so many goals that we can set. That's a big issue. Like people just, when they start setting goals, it's like, and you get a list.
Too many.
But then everybody's looking at that list like, and then they stop because it's like the list is so huge. I just put 4 things and then everything comes from that. But I look at like, okay, one of the big goals that I've been setting, and I've been doing that for a while now, is my health. Like I keep working on my health. I keep looking at like, okay, how can I improve my energy level? How can I improve my strength? I got 2 boys and they're getting older and they're getting more crazy and they still want to jump on me and all that stuff. So, I got to get stronger because they're getting heavier and stronger. So I keep looking at that. I keep looking at, okay, how can I improve my food? For example, right now for a week now, I'm working on not eating until it's 12 o'clock. So I eat between 12 and 5 and the rest I don't eat.
Intermittent fasting. Yeah.
For me, it's right now I'm enjoying it. I drink a lot more, which is good. And I'm sharper. So that's nice as well. And so I look at those things, and then I go and like, okay, with those life goals that I have, what are now my business goals? Like, what do I really want to achieve? So for this year, for example, one of the big goals, actually the biggest goal, is to have my business set up in such a way that I will not work while I'm with the kids, which again, you set a goal. Yeah. Oh no, I love it. The kids love it. Well, however, it also immediately brings, and that was my challenge this year. I didn't really think it through because then the summer vacation came and they were home for 10 weeks. And I was like, I still got to work, still got to coach these clients. So I'm still looking at like, okay, how can I do that? And I actually want to go to a moment that I say like, okay, all the vacations, I do not coach. I'm just not going to coach. I'm just going to move it or whatever it is and set it up in such a way that people know is like, I don't coach there, don't there. You always have access to me by Voxer, but that's it. No calls, no nothing. However, you only know that, again, it's all that clarity, right? We build a clarity we build a vision from a limited perspective that we have at that moment in time, right? Not doing it is the worst. Doing it then is great, but don't be afraid to then change it, because you're going to learn so much along the way while you take action. And that's what happened again this year. True that. Right. And once I've done that, so the other big goal, of course, for the business is to make sure that nonprofit, that fundraising project, 100 Massive Productivity is launched and just, everything is interviewed, although I already know that I'm not going to make it because I opt. Again, right? You have that vision, you have that goal, but then I opted myself already by saying like, no, I want like a Richard Branson, I want a Russell Brunson. Now that is going to take a lot more time than I thought at first, because it takes a while to get a person like that on. I already got some no's. I got to keep going, so I got to find new ways. Like, okay, how can I turn this no into a yes? so that's how I do it. And then I look at like, okay, what do I want to have done in the next 3 months? What do I want to have done in the next month? But always, every single time, from the 4-4. So 4 goals for life, 4 goals for business. And I look at like, okay, what do I want to achieve for the year? So what do I need to have achieved then by the end of the Q, or by the end of the month, end of the week, and by the end of the day? And always be flexible as well. Like I got in my mind is like, look, everything changes all the time. Like literally everything, like we change, like everything within us, you name it, everything changes. Once you realize that and you're okay with that, then it becomes a lot easier. Because then you see, like I mentioned, like goals have changed. I actually had a goal for life, which was we wanted drastically to reduce our plastic garbage. And I think within the month, we already achieved the whole goal. I was like, okay, so then you change, right? It's not like, okay, now we reached it and that's it. No, then we change. Okay, so how can we make this, how can we maintain this and then get a different goal that will work better? And that's how you continuously work. And don't be afraid of that. Like, okay, like I can do that, right? Ooh, this goal is actually too big. How can I change it? Don't be too afraid either to set like a big goal. It's okay, right? Again, that's how you really learn. That's how you really like, okay, why did I not achieve it? And what can I learn from this? And where was I? Most of the times it's there's fear coming up, like, oh no, I was really afraid of this or that. I knew I had to do this, but it wasn't working. The only way you can do that is by setting the goal and just go for it. Like,
just push
fast
yourself.
as you can.
That's it. Push yourself. Yeah. Have you heard of the Conqueror? It's it's a virtual challenge. You might actually enjoy this, class. I joined this, I want to say probably 3 months ago. A friend of mine told me. You actually get, wait, I can show you behind me. You actually get like this physical medal when you do running and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's quite a solid medal. Now, this is 412 kilometers. I walked this. And I'm not a runner. And when you talk about, setting those goals and setting those personal goals, if you told me like 6 months ago, you're going to do this, I'm going to say, hell no, you're crazy. I'm not a runner. It's not something I can do. But I did it. And I've already signed up for my second one. But if you have that clear vision and say, okay, this is how you're going to do it, and you set up your action steps, like for that, for example, you know that you have to run a certain kilometer a day to achieve that, right? At the end of, if you want to do it in 60 days or whatever. How do you set your action steps to achieve it every day? Do you do it like digitally? Do you do it physically, like on your, like a piece of paper? How do you set your action steps daily?
So the daily is for me always on a piece of paper, always, right? So I got them right on my desk, right?
Yeah.
I got my whole thing here. It's my action plan for life, my action plan for business. Every night I sit down, and that's when I first analyze the day.
Yes.
And again, first life, then business. And then I go into, okay, so what needs to be done tomorrow? And that's the moment then I can look like, okay, what did I not do? And I know I must get done. All right, let's make sure that gets on there and that it moves priorities. If it's really important. That's how I plan it. And as I said, I write it. So this is also my my journal. It has questions in here and stuff like that, where I look at what am I grateful for? What was I grateful for today? Who must I forgive? How I'm going to show up, or how I'm going to serve today. All those kind of things I put in there as well, and I make sure that I answer them in the morning, so I'm already hyped up, and I also answer them at night, so that I can unwind completely before I go to sleep.
I like that. It's really cool to do that. I do the same. It's really cool. Okay, so second last question. If somebody's sitting on the fence and they're not exactly sure if they should carry on doing a business or thinking about doing a business, or they're just stuck in their current business and they're like, crikey, I got into this business, but I really don't like it, or they're just stuck financially, what type of advice would you have for somebody that is either sitting on the fence or they're stuck?
All right, let's see. There's different things. stuck or sitting on, well, if you just don't know how to move forward, right?
Yes.
All right. There's so many different directions that we can take this. Simple one. If it's a simple decision to, I love this one. One of my coaches did this one with me. I was stuck and I was like, dude, for me, it was something silly. So I was stuck and I'm like, dude, I don't know what to choose. I don't know if we're going to go with this or with this. I think actually that was with am I going to continue with only entrepreneurial dads, or am I actually going to make that shift and go with entrepreneurial parents? He said, all right, so that's, simple A/B in general, right? As somebody, for you, it's like the most difficult decision ever. But for somebody looking for outside, like, that's a simple decision, to be honest. Right. So he just made me grab a coin, and A was dads and heads was dads and tails was parents, and he just made me flip it, grab it, put it down, and not look, but ask me, is like, what's your gut telling you right now? Like, what do you feel like that's what I want? And I was like, parents. So put the coin away, don't look, like you made your decision. Right. So we have to understand that once we have to make decisions, we already have that decision within us. We have an unlimited potential and decision-making power. The only thing is that we've been filled with so much fear, and we're so afraid of making the wrong decision. However, make the decision and go, and then find out, right? Because you made a decision before. It's like, okay, this is the business that I want. You made a decision, and then somewhere along the way, something happened, which is going to happen anyway, right? Bad stuff is going to happen. I mean, challenges, not bad stuff, but challenges are going to happen. And you need to know how to deal with that. And you need to make sure that if this is really what you want, to keep reanimating yourself, keep motivating yourself all the time. Because at some point you just go a little dip. I have that once in a while as well. I know, however, how fast I can get out of it because I know what I do. And if you don't, then again, grab a coin. What else? I love that one. I use it now very often. I actually use it with my own client, and I just sit there and go, what do you want it to be? Good. And then I put it away, and they're like, what was it? I say, it's not important, because it's not. I looked anyway. It was funny because I am one of those that I want to look, and it was both the same. So it was, I think, tails. Let's say tails was parents. So it was tails. And, I already said it. It's like, see, the universe also provides. Ooh. But it's within us. And that's the most important thing. When I looked for names, for example, like, what am I going to call my business? And then you start thinking logically, and you're writing all those names out, and you're like, man, I got so many names. Like, how do I pick? And then I was meditating or a breathing exercise one day, and it was just calmly breathing and just asking the question over and over again. And then it was become a fearless father. That just came. And then it's like, cool, that's actually awesome. I hadn't written that down. So then I had the name. So it's all about knowing that, what comes out of you is so important and so powerful. And that's where you got to keep getting at. It's like, okay, if you're on the fence, like, should I continue or not? Like, just take the time to relax, step away, go on a holiday, for example, just leave everything alone. And then during the holiday, just have walks wherever it is alone and just talk to yourself. Like, I love this as well. Was one guy that mentioned that as well. He said, I go for walks early in the morning. I put in my headset, and then I just start I just a headset, like, he wasn't even connected. He just had the headset in. He said, the reason why I do that is because people look weird at me if I don't. So if I have my headset in, people think like I'm actually having a conversation with somebody. I'm not. He said, I'm just having a conversation with myself. So he's just walking and asking himself all the time, all kinds of questions. And you just
actually,
and then quiet. But the problem is that we often start rationalizing and giving an answer. However, again, it's within us. So if we're quiet and let our brain just work through it, at a certain point, you're going to get an answer. You're like, but that's it, right? And that's how I make different ways of making decisions myself when I'm on the fence, or when I have doubts, or when you're just lost, right? When you're just like, I don't know. Or right? And then option number 3, have a coach. Have a coach. Like everybody, if you're serious about your life and your business, you should have at least one coach. And that's very important. Like one that clicks with you, that understands you, that you know, and that you can connect with. Because sometimes you just like, I'm lost, and just, you know, I can connect with Voxer, with my coach, quickly write him like, dude, I just had this idea. What do you think? Right? And then you get that extra more. Or like, you know, ooh, I got 3 ideas, 1, 2, 3. What should I pick? Or I'm stuck. Like sometimes I get stuck. Like I don't know what to do next. And then, you know, you need to have that coach that's been there already. I can tell you like, dude, this, right? It could be a coach, could be a mentor, could be a mastermind where you're just with 2 other people and you connect every week, but you can also connect during the week quickly with a question. It's really important to have like-minded people around you that you can spar with thoughts and ideas. Again, and then you come back again to, you know, just sitting and relaxing and asking yourself, the universe, whatever you want to call it, in the moments that you're quiet, of what answer, because in the end, it's got to come from you. I've had coaches that told me like, you got to do this. I'm like, okay. And then I was sitting down, I was calm in a moment, and everything within me was saying like, no, I don't, like it doesn't feel like me. It just doesn't feel comfortable. And then you share that again, and then you come out to a conclusion like, no, we actually got to do this. And then, you know, that's okay too. As long as you keep moving, that's the most important thing.
Definitely. Now you have interviewed a lot of people, Klaas, and I am just like, it's just amazing, you know, to speak to somebody that has done the same thing, right? What has been the top 3 things that you've learned from all the people that you've interviewed? I know I'm putting you on the spot because you've done a lot of interviews, but just the first 3 things that comes to mind of all the interviews that you've done, that was your most favorite things that I've either said to inspire you.
Jim Edwards.
Yes.
He said something and it just clicked. I was like, just on the spot, boom. He mentioned that, you know, we should time block, right? I mean, most people, when you understand, some are like, time blocking, no, but just trust me, time blocking is like a gift. And however, what I was struggling with time blocking is like, I wasn't actually sticking to my time blocks. And still you can time block and say like, okay, this hour I'm going to spend on reaching out to people, for example, right? And that's scary. And it's like, whatever. So you actually come up with different excuses within your business that are more important than doing that, which is, you know, that's how you make money, because, you know, that's how you get clients.
Procrastinate.
Yeah, exactly. And then he said, and I changed a little bit, but what he said was, you know, I see every single time block that I've set for myself as an appointment. So it's like an appointment with myself of making sure. And then because it's an appointment, it's already different. You're giving again more charge. And that's nice. But then you make an appointment with yourself. If you're not strong enough to keep appointment with yourself, which most of us are not, that's a nice, but still hard. And still the same thing was happening. And then I start saying, you know what? No, I'm going to pretend I've set an appointment with the most important person that I want to have an appointment with. For me is still Richard Branson. I would like every single hour that I know, like this is an absolute must. It's my appointment with Richard Branson. And I want to have Richard Branson on. So if I don't show up, if I don't do this, then I'm showing him that I am not, you know, worthy or deserving of having him on as a guest. So I'm playing with my mind to really set up. And so that was really huge. Another huge thing that came from John Lee Dumas. And he was saying, it's like, you know, you got to see, time blocking is great, but you got to figure out what is your actual ideal time block for when you do like what he called, I think he called it the power stuff, or, you know, he's been writing his book. And book's out, by the way, which is such a phenomenal book. So he was writing this book, and he was saying like, there's moments where you just sit down and you work on that book. And he said, like, for me, it was like, I think he said 45 minutes. 45 minutes was perfect. So he worked for 45 minutes and stopped and did something else. And then for like 5-10 minutes, he went for a walk or a swim in the pool that they have or whatever it is, right? And then he would come back and do another 45 minutes. So he mentioned, like, really find out what's that sweet spot. Because as entrepreneurs, we're sitting and then we just keep going. And our productivity just goes after that sweet spot. Our productivity, even though we think we're still productive, our productivity just crashes. And that was a huge one. And then the third one. Now it's like, there's so many. There's like, which one shall I pick that will also really help somebody else? Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Got like 5 in my head right now that I can share on top. Okay, let's pick this one. So I didn't interview Russell Brunson yet. Okay. However, what he said made a very big impact, because what he said was at a certain point, I think it was during the One Funnel Away Challenge. He said, as entrepreneurs, we must stop looking for how can I do this and start really looking for who can do this for me. And that ties in nicely with Matt Ganzak, who I interviewed a couple of weeks ago, I think, where he said it's like, as entrepreneurs, you're not a real entrepreneur unless you got those VAs. It doesn't even matter, like, you send things to like Upwork or Fiverr, I think most people use, those kind of things. Just, you gotta set that out. You gotta really know is like, what am I strong at? What needs to be done? What takes a lot of my time? And I'm not, usually it's what takes a lot of time, you're also not strong at, right? Because you're procrastinating, and then, it just takes you more than ever. Right? I'm not a designer, so design stuff that takes me forever. So why would I do that? Right? So why don't I just spend that money and have somebody else do it, and they deliver way better work than what I could ever do, plus way faster, and everybody's happy. So that's when I really started looking at, like, who can do this for me? Who can make sure that that they find the right people for me to connect with. Yeah. Because another thing, like yes, it's necessary. It's just for me, it's just a waste. It's a waste of time that I can spend on different things. So I got somebody else looking for like the profiles and stuff, the people I can connect with. That saves me so much time that now I can like really work
focus
on things that really move the needle. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Klaas, where can people reach you?
Where can people reach me? I'm predominantly on Facebook, and they can just reach me on my name, Klaas van Oosterhout. I think there's only one. So that shouldn't be that hard. And yeah, that's the easiest. And the 100mastersofproductivity.com is the fundraising project. And I'm working on my own site as well, klaasvanoosterhout.com. I got reserved. Anybody that's listening to this and has a show as well, just as amazing as yours, Joy, can reach me on interviewklaas.com, which is the easiest way to just book in a time with me. As you mentioned, like, I love interviewing. Yes, I love interviewing. I also love to come on other people's shows. It's a lot of fun. It's just, it's a different dynamic than I'm more relaxed. So it's a lot of fun. And again, it's all about building connections and getting to know people and having fun conversations and being able to share value as much as possible. So I would say those are the best places at the moment to connect with me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Klaas. And I want to mention one last thing. When I interviewed Blake, probably about 2 years ago now, a year and a half ago, one thing I learned from him, and that was to build relationships. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I do interviews, is to just purely build relationships with people on top of obviously sharing value with the audience. So just a last little takeaway there. But
no,
thank
and
you.
it's a great one. Yeah, it was one of the 5 that I had in my head. So for me, Christopher Voss, he's like he's the king of relationships. So he has a method called the ROR method, which stands for return on relationship. He's been named by Russell Brunson as the best gift giver of the whole ClickFunnels community. Dude's phenomenal. Like, he's building relationship with people like Russell, like I think right now he's working on Tony Robbins and Alex Sharfin, for example. Most people also know probably. He's got a relationship with those people, and he's my inspiration in regards to like not just building a relationship, but then also, you know, continuing that relationship. Just giving and really looking at like, okay, what is it that people, how can I make people extra happy? How can I deliver them extra value? Because that's what it's about, right?
Exactly.
Without
wanting something in return as well.
Exactly. Without wanting something in return.
Exactly.
Which then again, I'm kind of like, you know, also like, look, it's okay to want something in return, right? It's okay. Like there's also in a relationship, there's a give and take. However, it's not like predominantly like, I'm going to build a relationship with you so I can get you on my show, right? And then we're done. And that's what most people do. And it's very important that after that, make sure that you continue that relationship. Like, send them a little extra gift, like, hey, I really appreciate that. Or when you think of them, like, send them an extra note. Or, you know, I'm not doing it at the moment. I was making handwritten notes for the guests that I had on my show, and I would send that to them.
That's awesome. That's a really cool idea.
Who still writes handwritten notes?
Nobody. So that's really cool.
I have them here. I designed this myself. Took me forever, but you know, just had this made, and then I just, you know, turned it into a postcard and just written on the back. Then I noticed that postcards actually hardly arrive. So I started putting it in an envelope. Now I had more room to write. So I was writing more stuff, right? And I made it really personal. And again, who writes personal notes? Like, hardly anybody does that. And because you do, you stand out and you really build that relationship, because people are like, wow, look at him, right? It's all about going the extra mile. So all the guests, for example, for 100 Master Productivity, I didn't just put the interview there. No. I also put a nice picture of them and their bio. And then I put like, how can people connect with them? So their website, and then also their social medias. And then when that was all done and set up, I made a video. So I make a video of that, showing them like a loom, right? I show them like, hey, listen, you know, this is what I did. This is where people can find you. Look, everything works, Really appreciative. Again, another touch point of connection. And then the response that you get back is like, wow, you really go above and beyond. And that's the kind of things that you want. Like, you want them to really feel like, look, I spent 15 minutes of my time to come on your show. That's around the time that I interview my people at the moment. But you spent hours on me to make sure that I shine even more than I can possibly can. People feel happy. What is going to happen? Well, somebody's going to say like, hey, listen, have you been on so-and-so show? Right? Like, next time when I talk to somebody, I'll be like, hey, listen, you know, I know you're looking for shows, right? I know, for example, Serena Brown is looking for shows. Like, she loves to come on shows. I'd be like, hey, Serena, I know you're looking for shows. Joy is phenomenal. Like, you mind if I connect you with her, and then you can chat with her and see if you can book a time to come on her show, right? So now I can connect people. I come out as a rock star because you're like, wow, you know, you connected with Serena. Serena's going to be like, wow, you know, Joy was fantastic. I love being on her show. It's a win-win for everybody. And that's what a relationship should be about. It should be about a win-win-win for everybody.
Exactly. Win-win.
So
definitely. I love it. It's an amazing way to grow a business. Actually, it really is. Yeah.
It absolutely is. Yeah.
It really is.
100%.
And it's a free way to do it, guys. So there you go.
Yep.
Time and effort, which is in a good way. Klaas, this was fantastic. Thank you. I really appreciate your time. I think this is one of the longest interviews I've done in a long time, which is actually awesome, because it's just really nice. You shared a lot of really awesome golden nuggets. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Glad to hear that. No, thank you for having me on. I really had a good time.
Thank you.